I want to talk about water investing in the context of my personal journey I've been on during the last year. This journey emerged from a place of curiosity, and I invite you today to participate in this with me. We all have a love of water, one thing we all have in common. So why don't we all just take a sip of water right now? And I would like to invite you to do an exercise with me. As we begin, please find a comfortable posture that feels upright without straining. Inhale a deep breath and release it. And feel your feet flat on the floor. Roll your shoulders back and allow your elbows to hang by your sides. If you feel comfortable doing so, close your eyes and raise a hand with the palm facing up. Imagine your surprise of what it's like to have a first raindrop suddenly dab your palm. Feel its coolness and wetness. Now feel 3 more raindrops on your palm and the little splatter of those drops. You might even be able to feel a breeze as a front moves in, and the fresh smell as that first curtain of rain moves around you. Now envision a special place of water that you cherish. Perhaps it's a place from your childhood where you swam, a beautiful river you floated, or a beach from which you look across the water's horizon. Listen to the sound of the water. The sounds of the water may include lapping, splashing, or gurgling. What do you envision the water has to say to you? What would you want that water to know about you, about how you feel? Think about the meaning that water has in your life. What does this imaginary contact with water bring up for you? How do the feelings you are experiencing now affect the way that you think about your work? Keeping your eyes closed, take 3 deep breaths and then open your eyes. Notice that everyone in this room has a lifelong experience with water. And if you feel inclined, perhaps take a moment to jot down a note or two about what you just noticed. Thank you. My continuing journey of curiosity has shaped my perspective as an entrepreneur, startup advisor, and water tech investor. I co-founded and operated WaterSmart software that currently serves over 200 utilities with data analytics and customer communications. And over the last year, 49 of those utilities that are in California use 2.5% less water per capita than non-water smart utilities. It's a satisfying contribution towards improved water efficiency. And some of you may even be WaterSmart's partners or customers. In 2019, I authored the first report on investing in water and distributed wastewater treatment and reuse for the CREO Syndicate, a global network of family offices investing in climate tech and renewable energy. And Dennis, you, I believe, can post the link to that report in the chat so people can take a deeper dive on their own time. Lots of facts and figures and charts and references that are worth taking a look at. And we interviewed dozens of global experts to arrive at 3 investing strategies. 1, project financing of distributed on-site wastewater treatment and reuse facilities. 2, invest in growth equity of companies with leapfrog technology in India, China, and Africa. And 3, fill the gap in early stage venture capital for water technology. And now at Echo River Capital, the investment thesis is focused on that venture capital element from that report on what I call the 3 Ds of water tech: digitizing, decentralizing, and decarbonizing the water cycle, and with 12 investments so far. Smart, mission-driven, diverse entrepreneurs are applying the latest technology from AI to remote sensing, to membranes, to atmospheric water generation, to zero-emission water supplies across a variety of industry verticals. Exciting new market opportunities are opening up, like corporate water responsibility with water positive commitments, continuing the digital transformation of utilities, and decarbonizing the urban water cycle. Is there any doubt that the policies, standards, and water technology developed and deployed over the last 30 years have measurably improved water efficiency and water productivity? In California, municipal water use has declined 37% since 1990 to 146 gallons per person. In irrigated agriculture, California is producing more crop per drop than ever. Farm production generated 38% more gross state product in 2015 than in 1980, even though farm water use was about 14% lower, according to the Public Policy Institute of California. We have also made important strides in other areas, such as water recycling and reuse, green infrastructure, and groundwater recharge. These are quantifiable gains in important areas that still have room to run. One movement advocates driving per capita consumption down to just 50 liters per day. We have made important gains in water recycling, reuse, green infrastructure, and groundwater recharge, and there remains much more to do. I'm convinced that investments in technology will accelerate these additional achievements to strengthen resilience. And yet, even after these advances, have we ever felt as vulnerable to drought and deluges as we do right now? Has our natural world ever been as vulnerable as today? Do we continue running, tripping forward, doing the same things at a faster pace? 30 years hence, will we look back at today's trajectory of water innovation as sufficient to the challenge of water and climate resilience? Will doing what we have done previously, doing those things faster, solve our climate adaptation challenges? Perhaps this will require a different relationship to water, to each other, and to the world. When we look back at today, when our future selves send us postcards from the future, what questions will we be asked? Did we think far enough into the future? Did we invite sufficient imagination into the blue sky? Did we challenge ourselves to consider where the world needs to be in 30 years or in 7 generations? I'm on my own journey as a human being, water tech innovator, and investor to not just think deeply. I'm also opening my heart to listen to Indigenous voices and to learn more about how to live in harmony with nature. Perhaps water is not a resource to be managed, allocated, and assigned a value. What would happen if we treated water as precious and not just as a precious commodity? So I'm curious, What can our hearts tell us about fulfilling our commitment to the human right to water? What if we listened to Indigenous leaders about honoring and respecting water? What if we saw water as an equal member of our community? What if rivers held the same innate rights and legal standing as humans? What if we envisioned a future of water abundance? What if there were entrepreneurs and companies that embraced and pursued these values? You may have your own what if questions. So take a moment to write just one of those what ifs into the chat window and wait before pressing send until I count to 3, when we will all send our questions at the same time. 1, 2, 3, send. Thank you. I'm curious about how we can respond to these questions because they matter. I'm curious to learn more about forging a different relationship with water and with each other. I'm curious about how embracing our vulnerability and being courageous enough to sit with not knowing can guide our future investments in human ingenuity and stewardship. I'll leave you with this one last question from Kelsey Leonard, a water scientist and water protector of the Shinnecock Nation. What have you done for the water today? Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. No spreadsheets were involved in this presentation.